Hey, I am Jessica Nicole McLaurin, and welcome to Free Friday. That's FFRE for Faith, Finance, and Real Estate. And I have with me today Seneca Cyprian, owner and mortgage broker of Quality Lending Group. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hello, Jessica. Nice to see you.
Same here. And tell me, you are based out of where are you?
Houston, Texas. But I
Yeah.
actually have an office in Ridgeland, Mississippi as well.
Okay. So, welcome. You are my first guest out of state. So, I think it's a beautiful
Oh,
first.
yeah, that's exciting.
So, for those who are listening, today we are talking about mortgage brokers, things you should know about mortgage brokers. And that is different from a mortgage lender. And as I was telling Seneca when I first mentioned the idea of this conversation, I really want you all to know that you have options. Of course, you have mortgage lenders that are out there, and Seneca will explain the difference. But and of course, those more than likely, whether you know it or not, you already know most mortgage lenders. But I want to make sure you all know your options. I want to make sure you know your options. So let's get started. So, what is the difference between a mortgage lender and yourself, a mortgage broker?
Yes. So I'm so glad, Jessica, we had this conversation and we're having it again on
Yeah.
this live recording and
Yeah.
to your audience, to my audience. Because a lot of people, when you hear the word lender, you hear the word broker, you be like, isn't it the same? And kind of it is the same. We all function the exact same way. We're going to help you get a mortgage. We want to help you get approved in a home. However, there are a little layers to it and a little bit of a difference. So the biggest difference as a lender, which I work on behalf of lenders as a mortgage broker. So when you think of a lender or let's say a banker, most of your lenders are going to be working for big banks. And especially if you're in a smaller town, you're going to have more banks like your Regions, your Cadence banks, Bank Plus, Trust Smart,
Community bank. Yeah.
Community. Yeah, just the name of a lot of banks. Most of the banks are in like the smaller towns and they have the name, they have the brand. So most clients, when you're looking to buy a house, the first thing you're going to think of, let me go to the bank. And especially if you already have a relationship with a bank or credit union for that matter. You're the first place most people go is to their local bank or credit union if they want to get approved for a mortgage loan. Now, where a broker come in place, we do the exact same thing that banks do. We offer the exact same rates, but even better. So that's what makes us so special because we are like the liaison, the mouthpiece for the banks, where we go out and find the clients and bring the business to the bank. Or we may bring the business to another investor or a wholesale lender. So as a broker, we have so many options. And like if you're going to, and I'm just going to throw a name out there. This doesn't have anything to do bad on any bank, but I used to bank with Trustmart for many, many, many years. And Trustmart have certain programs for mortgages, and they only have this box. And if you don't fit into that box, then you're not going to qualify for a mortgage at Trustmart. Now, as a broker, we don't have this little box. We may have this box with lender A, then we have another bigger box with lender B, and we have this big old circle with lender C. So as a mortgage broker, I have over 100 different lenders and wholesale investors and banks that I have relationships with. So if my client doesn't qualify for bank number one, guess what? I'm going to take them to bank number two or wholesale lender number three or number four, because I have so many options versus if you go directly to a bank, you're limited to whatever that bank offers. Does that make sense?
It does. It does
Okay.
make sense. Oftentimes and you tell me if I have the correct description, oftentimes let me say this, when I meet a client and they need help with choosing a lender, I will provide three choices. I like them to have options. I want them to know you have options. And even out of these three, you can go beyond that and do your own research. And if I have a mortgage lender as part of that list, I normally say, when I describe the difference, I say the mortgage lender would be able to shop around for you. Is that correct?
So as the mortgage lender?
I'm sorry, mortgage broker.
Okay, yes.
When I describe the mortgage broker.
Okay, because I was like, as the bank? No, they want to keep you at the bank.
Right.
Most of the banks, they have portfolio loans, or they want to keep everything in-house. So you are correct. As a mortgage broker, we will shop for our clients. And like I said, I have over 100 different investors. I have a pool of investors and lenders that I don't even work with, but I may be like, let me try this person, and they have the program that I'm looking for. Like any mortgage loan or mortgage product that's out there on the market, as a mortgage broker, we have access to those products. Now, the bank may not have that product. Like, for instance, I just give you a prime example. I have I have a portfolio product that are for if you're self-employed. Let's say you wrote off all of your expenses, like most self-employed people do who have their own business. We don't want to look, they don't want to pay the IRS.
Absolutely.
I'm a little guilty, just a little bit. So, we try, most of my self-employed clients, my daughter's at the door. Hey,
no problem.
I knew that was going to happen. Sorry. So, but she heard me talking, so she's like, "Wait, what is mommy doing? Like, let me go see what's going on." If you know,
this is a laid back setting. It's quite all right.
So, what was I saying? Now I forgot my train of thought.
As far as the different programs.
Programs. Yes, thank you. So I have a program that are for self-employed buyers that wrote off all their expenses on their tax return. Now, on paper, it may look like, they made $200,000, but they wrote off $150,000. So they only made $50,000 trying to buy a $400,000 home. It's not, the numbers are not going to math out right. So I can do a profit and loss loan. I can do a bank statement loan. We can do a stated income loan. So there are so many different options that I can do besides, your tax returns show negative income. Now you don't qualify. If you go to the bank, they're not going to approve you. If your tax returns doesn't show the amount of money, they're going to say, well, you need to file your taxes. You got to pay the IRS. And now you got, you owe the IRS all this money. Or you can just go through a broker like myself and do a bank statement loan or a profit and loss loan or a 1099 loan or a stated income loan. So it's just so many different options.
Yeah, look, entrepreneurs will love to hear that. And that's good for them to know that, hey, you're not left out there, that there is someone for you. So this is something we talked about in our first conversation. Fees. We often hear, and I told you that one of the things that kept me from reaching out to brokers is that we hear that our client will have to pay additional fees. Can you explain that?
Yes. So that is 100% myth. So anytime as a mortgage broker, well, I'm not going to say 100%. I'm going to say 50-50 because it's a little truth to that, but it really just depends on the client. But for the most part, you have to pay fees. That is not true. Anytime I get a client, if it's a traditional loan, FHA, conventional, USDA, VA, whether you're doing a refinance, there are no fees. When I send a loan to a lender or bank or wholesale lender, that lender pay me for making the referral, sending that loan to the bank. Now, another myth I've heard is that mortgage brokers don't do any work. We just refer the loan to the banks and we just let them, no, we do work. Matter of fact, we gotta do more work than the bank.
You
Because
better
they
stand up
don't
for
want us,
yourself.
yes, they want us to get the client pre-approved, gather all the docs, calculate the income, make sure they are mortgage ready. So we got to roll up our sleeves and dig in and make sure this client is approved before the bank even touch the file. Because like they're gonna deny it if we don't do the work up front. So that's another myth. So once that file is submitted to the lender paid us for doing that loan with that particular lender, just like a realtor fee. When you
Yes.
take the client out to purchase a house, the client typically don't pay you your commission. The seller pay the commission at closing. So same thing with the lender. Now, anytime there are fees, additional fees that are added by the broker, is if for some reason the loan does not qualify where the bank or the investor pay the broker, that means I have to flip it to a borrower paid transaction. And I know
Okay.
most people watching this video, she's gonna be like, what is a borrower paid transaction? That means the lender is not paying me. Now the borrower has to pay. And typically when that happens, either one is not a traditional loan. We may be doing a bank statement loan, a DSCR. It's a non-traditional product, which means most of the non-traditional lenders, they don't pay the broker. Your client is now paying because they don't qualify for a traditional loan. So that's where the fees are a little bit more. But even with the fee is going to range depending on the broker. You may pay 1%, you may pay 2%, you may pay 2.75, you may pay 3%. I've seen some brokers, people charge 5%. It just depends on the type of loan. So that's where the fees are added. But I mean, just think about it. If you did not file your income the right way, you don't qualify for a traditional loan, there are going to be some additional fees you got to pay because you didn't pay the IRS, so you got to pay somewhere. You either going to pay the IRS or you're going to pay the lender.
And that actually makes sense. And I remember when you first mentioned that to me, I was thinking it's a good swap because you need a non-traditional loan. The fact that you're not going to find it everywhere, this is something rare. It's going to be an additional cost,
Exactly.
So it just makes sense. And when is that fee disclosed? Will the client know that they're paying a fee?
Yeah.
And when will they know?
Yeah. So I can't speak for anybody else, but I can speak for myself. Anytime when my clients come to me and I know they're doing a non-traditional loan, we do a loan estimate up front. We go over all the fees, from the lender fees, your underwriting fee, processing, title fees, your attorney fees, your property taxes, homeowners insurance, like all the fees that make up that closing disclosure, the loan estimate, that is disclosed to the client up front. Yes. Now, when realtors see it, sometimes it is a shocker because it's like, what is this broker fee? I've never seen this before, but that's because it's a non-traditional loan. Just like the realtor is getting paid on the transaction, the loan officer has to get paid too. The lender gets paid. So the title company gets paid. Everybody has to make a commission when there's a mortgage transaction.
And all of that is shown as an estimate in the beginning of the transaction. And then you're also going to get another disclosure at the end, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And then just another thing, just to kind of dive a little bit more into the fees, because I don't want to scare anybody off about fees. So another thing that lenders brokers can do, let's just say, for instance, if a broker fee is, the typical fee that I've seen is 2.75. That's the normal fee. I've seen it as low as 2%, right? So let's just say the fee is 2.75. If the broker say, okay, this is the broker fee, you're paying 2.75. For this 2.75, you're going to get the lowest interest rate on the market. So you're not going to find that rate anywhere else. So you go to the bank, you may, and this is an example, do not quote me on this rate, but this is just for example purpose only. Let's just say the interest rate is 4.99.
Mm-hmm.
That will be, you will pay 2.75 for a 4.99. If you say, well, I don't want to pay 2.75. So what we can do, instead of getting a 4.99, we may take your rate up a little bit higher to like a 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can get a lender credit for maybe $5,000 just
Mm.
for taking a higher interest rate. So that credit will offset the fee. So it's not like you're paying the full amount. So now you're like, okay, I'll take a lender credit. So those are ways we can help the client to where they're not paying the full broker fee. We can offset that fee by giving them a lender credit.
Interesting. It's amazing how it's so many layers to all of this. But
Yes.
one thing I can say about even the most recent transaction with you is that you kept my client in the loop, and there was continual communication, even if it wasn't always you, but your team, constant communication to help us understand what's going on, to help with the numbers and all of that. So
Thank you.
I, I can say I had a wonderful experience with you. So
And same here. Your client was amazing. She was the perfect client. She was on top of, you know how you get some clients, you be like, where do you find this client from? You know? But no, she was a good client. Like she was on top of it,
absolutely.
communicating. She was like, whatever we need, she was on it. And when we have transaction like that, we can't help but to have a smooth closing. And she didn't pay any fees either. She got the best, lowest interest rate, low down payment. So everything
Yes,
was good.
that's what I'm
She
talking
thought she
about.
was paying higher closing costs. It was end up being like $2,000, $3,000
Absolutely.
less at the closing
Yes.
table.
Yes,
So yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Look, as I'm looking at my bullet points to make sure there's nothing I'm missing, is there anything off the top of your head you can think of that you just want to add to the conversation?
Let me think. I would just like to add, I worked for a bank. I worked in retail when I first started as a loan officer. And I loved it there. I'm not going to lie. I built a lot of relationships. I had a lot of resources when I was working with the bank. But when I transitioned from retail to broker, it
Hmm.
is a different world. Like literally, it's a different world. And I love being a broker versus working for a retail bank is
Hmm.
because I have so many products for my clients and I'm able to offer so many options. And I can help clients with 550 credit score all the way up to 800 credit score. I can help them if they're looking for a $50,000 loan or a million, $2 million loan. So it's just so much like resources out there for clients when it comes to down payment assistance, first time home buyers, second
Hmm.
home investment properties. If they looking to build a house from the ground up using a one-time close construction loan, like those are just some of those products that you will not see at your
Yeah.
local bank.
Yeah.
And the local banks are wonderful. They have great products. I'm not knocking away from them. But if I can't do it, sometimes I do refer out to a local bank. And guess what?
Hmm.
They pay me a referral for referring it. But so it's like, I just want to say, just shop around and make sure you're working with whether it's a bank or a broker or a lender directly. Just make sure that person has your best interest at heart. That's it. Because at the end of the day, you want to work with somebody, not just for, don't look at it as a one-time transaction. Look at it
Hmm.
finding somebody who's going to be your person forever. Whether it's your first house, you're looking to buy an investment property, a second home, you want to refinance, you're looking for some financial advice. Like that person should be forever.
Yeah.
Like having a doctor.
Uh-huh.
Like, this is my
Uh-huh.
doctor. I can just go to my doctor for whatever I need. That's how you want to look at your broker or your lender.
That is a beautiful end to this. I love how you just made that entire statement. So there you have it, people. Seneca Cyprian with Quality Lending Group. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So, the big lesson tonight, you have options. That is one of
Yes.
the big takeaways. You do have options. So, as always, I hope you have a wonderful weekend and keep pushing forward.